And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Synergy Theater. You have found our YouTube channel, and you are in the right place, doing the right thing, ready for tonight's presentation of My Dearest Love, an improvised series of dangerous letters. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ken Adams. I'm the artistic director of Synergy Theater, and we are here online on our YouTube channel every Thursday at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific time and Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Tonight's a very special night because this is our closing performance of this show. We're still here every weekend forever, so don't worry about that. But we are not going to be performing My Dearest Love any longer. This has been our longest run of our online season so far. And tonight we are bringing it to a close. We are delighted that you are here to help us close this show. If you would like to interact with us tonight and chat, and that is how you will be able to give us suggestions, we would love you to do that. You need to go ahead and log on to your YouTube channel, and then you'll be able to interact with us via chat. And now, without any further ado, let me please introduce the rest of the cast of tonight's presentation of Synergy Theater's My Dearest Love. Come on screen, everybody. Oh my goodness, you all look amazing. Look at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, My Dearest Love is a full-length improvised show in the style of an 18th century epistolary novel where the characters communicate by writing letters one to the other. So the first thing we need in order to get our brains working tonight is for you to suggest our character names. Now, think about names that sound like they might be from England in the 1700s, like Lord this or Duke that or Miss this. We would love a title and a first name, not necessarily the last names, but the title and the first name. I'm going to give everybody a moment to type those into your chat. As soon as they start rolling up on the YouTube chat screen cast, go ahead and pick one and then shout out loud that you're going to take that name. Let's do that nice and quickly. Here they come. Go ahead and let's have some people start
I'll
taking
take Sir Phineas.
All right.
I'll take Madame Ovary.
Lady Fredonia was the first one that I saw. So Lady Fredonia.
All right, excellent.
I'll be Sir Tenley.
Tenley, very nice.
I will be Lord Budweiser.
And I will be Sir Garfield. Excellent job. Those are excellent names. Thank you very much, Sir Garfield. All right. The next suggestion that we are going to ask you for is, which one of these characters writes the first letter? So let me put that in there. Who writes the first letter? Go ahead. The first person who answers. Oh no, well, that is not one of them. All right. Thank you for all of those names. Those are awesome. Go ahead, pick one of the 6 names that are up there now. Somebody pop on, or who is going to write the first letter? So one of the characters whose names you see up there. All right, Madame Ovary is the one I saw. Madame Ovary will write the first letter. And the next question is, well, I'll tell you what, we already had Madame Ovary. So let's have Madame Ovary write the first letter to Sir Garfield. That's the next one up in the chat box over there. So our first letter will come from Madame Ovary, and it will go to Sir Garfield. All right, thank you very much. Now, as those of you know who have seen our show before, as the action goes on, you might have a great idea for what you would like to see happen next in the show. Go ahead and type that into your chat. As they roll up, we'll keep an eye on them, and we'll see how many of your suggestions we can grab in order to create our play tonight. We can't promise we'll take all of them, but we will certainly try to take as many as we can. All right, I think we are ready. In that case, I am going to give places to all of my actors. If you would kindly head off screen. I'm going to go away for just a moment, and we will be back with today's action-packed episode of My Dearest Love, a series of dangerous letters. My dear reader, the various letters that are herewithin contained were never intended for public consumption. They are private letters, written quite frequently in the heat of a passion, and more often than not, containing secrets, feelings, thoughts, and confessions that the letter writer would more happily die in the street than ever have willingly exposed to the punishing glare of public scrutiny. However, now that all of the letter writers are either dead, in prison, or hopelessly insane, I have no compunction whatsoever in taking the lot of them, arranging them in their series of events, and presenting them to you, my discerning readership. The events that are chronicled here take place between March 17th and November 2nd in the year of our Lord 1748. It has taken me years to gather these records through blackmail, bribery, barbarism, and downright theft from the hands of the people into which they have fallen. I have changed no names. I have blunted no edges. I only ask that as you read the lives of these poor souls laid bare, you do so and measure them with the honest yardstick of the deepest and most private secrets that you yourself possess. My friends, I give you My Dearest Love, a series of dangerous letters.
From Madame Bovary to her brother, Sir Garfield. My dearest brother, I write to you, hidden away in a castle in Scotland. Garfield, I must admit to you some horrible information. I fear you will no longer look upon me as innocent, and that you will know that I have ruined our family name. But I must admit this, for I know not how much longer I have to live. Garfield, my dearest older brother, I am so sad to inform you that I have taken up with Lord Budweiser. Yes, the married Lord Budweiser. In fact, it has been 1 year since he and I have been having illicit affairs, hidden here and there, meeting in discreet parts all over the country. Yet during our most recent meeting, he and I had a most heated exchange. It was 2 weeks ago when he was at Shropshire. Yes, we were strolling together during the night in a hidden alleyway. Lord Budweiser looked at me and said this.
How could you dare suggest such a thing that I divorce my wife?
To which I replied, Lord Budweiser, I see how you have no choice. For, you see, I am carrying your child. He responded,
This shall not do!
he was shaking his head in disbelief, and then he followed up with,
That child is not mine. You must have been with another man if you catch what it is I am trying to say.
in fact, my dear Garfield, I did catch what he was trying to say, and though I shamed myself with him, I would never shame myself with multiple men, and so I slapped him.
Oh.
Lord Budweiser, I declared, you are the father, and if you do not do right by us, I will be forced to take not only my life, but the life of this child. He responded,
My dear Ovary, do not get me wrong, for I love you with the passion of 1,000 suns, but I cannot do with a bastard child.
and I responded, but Lord Weiser, you don't have any other children. Your wife is barren. I could give you this heir. He responded,
I love you, but I love my wife as well. No, I shan't divorce, and we shan't marry.
and then he stole away. Garfield, I was so despondent that I made my way up here to our family estate in Scotland. I know not what to do next. I pray you will assist me in this unholy predicament, for I will take my life if need be. Your dearest loving sister, Ovary.
Sir Garfield to Lady Fredonia. My dear Lady Fredonia, I write to you in a heat of passion, sitting here upon the tower of my own estate, not sure whether I shall leap to the death to the craggy rocks below, or whether I shall end it here with a letter opener to my jugular vein. But no, wait, I race ahead. Lady Fredonia, prepare yourself. I write to you about your husband, Lord Budweiser. For you must know, my friend, that Lord Budweiser, your husband, is carrying on an illicit affair with my sister, Lady Ovary, and in fact has impregnated her. I received word of that in a letter from my sister 1 week ago, and between then and now, such events have taken place that my hand trembles like a leaf in a winter storm as it attempts to put those events to paper. I decided at once to confront your brother, and your husband, I mean, your husband. I accosted him in the tavern where he so often frequents. Lord Budweiser, I said. He turned to me and replied,
What knave calls my name?
my blood boiled like the lava in Vesuvius. I do, said I, Sir Garfield, the sister of Lady Ovary. Oh, he played it rather close to his vest, yet I could see the worrisome glance in his eyes. At last, like a snake, he said,
Madam Ovary, I've never heard such a name.
and yet I was not allow him to counterfeit in my presence. You lie, Lord Budweiser. She is my sister, and you have impregnated her. He stood up from his bar stool and threw his tankard of ale on the ground and declared,
Listen, you best keep yourself and your fragrant hair out of my business.
And with that, he stormed out of the pub, yet I followed him and hid behind a barrel as he met up with another sinister denizen of the immoral realm, that Lord Phineas. The two of them huddled by a street-side fire, and Lord Budweiser made light of the situation.
Sir Phineas, it has come to my attention that there is a man who needs to be taken care of.
Sir Phineas responded with a malicious glimmer in his eye.
And that is why you have come to me, because I, of course, arranged these matters to be taken care of.
Lord Budweiser laid it plain.
Indeed, I would go to no other rolling fire in the streets than yours, but to ask you to attempt assassination.
I was all but about to pounce and slaughter them both right there, and yet the moral strictures of God in heaven stayed my hand. And yet, Lady Fredonia, it was then your husband spoke thusly of you.
You see, my good man, should my wife find out about this, she would leave me at once, and I cannot take that in my life.
Sir Phineas, hardly as subtle a soul as Lord Budweiser, rejoined thusly.
You have nothing to worry about, for I will with swift haste.
And Sir Phineas went off, as far as I know, to put deed to his promise. Lord Budweiser looked to the left, he looked to the right, and he left. My dear Lady Fredonia, you know now the awful truth. Your husband is a philanderer, and he has set my murder into action. I beg you, Lord Fredonia, use that love he has for you and you for him to rectify this situation before it gets out of hand, even more so than it already is. Your friend and erstwhile playmate, Sir Garfield.
Lady Fredonia to Sir Tenley. My dear Tenny, I'm writing to you 2 weeks after the most horrendous incident that you could imagine, and it pains me as I place my quill to this parchment to actually put these words in place. But I must tell you, my dear, that not only is Bud having an affair, but I believe he may be having a child with her as well. Not only that, but I'm afraid that while I was in the garden, I overheard a conversation between Sir Garfield and Lady Overy. As I hid behind the large calla lily and tried to stay as still as I could, I heard Sir Garfield utter this word, just the one.
Love.
And Lady Overy responded,
What do you know of it, my dear brother?
and at that moment, he said these words, which I shall never forget.
I have loved more deeply than you can ever imagine, for I love Lady Fredonia.
And with that, Madame Overy became strangely agitated and began itching for some unknown reason, and then proclaimed that nobody could love as deeply as she.
Garfield, I never thought it possible for anyone to love as deeply as me. And yet, I see that there might be a solution to my difficulty here. You can take Fredonia away from Bud.
And at that moment, a certain Sir Phineas approached, carrying a large implement. And he proclaimed, as he swaggered towards Sir Garfield, he proclaimed this.
Sir Garfield, it will be in your best interest to make do of yourself away.
And you see, Sir Tenley, at that moment, the calla lily quivered just enough that Sir Garfield could catch the top of my hair behind it and saw that I was there and had eye contact with him.
My
And
lady?
Oh, Sir Garfield, you look disheveled, said I.
Did you hear my conversation with my sister, lady?
I tried to feign as if I had not heard, but my heart beat from my chest so wildly that the curls of my hair fluttered amidst that beating. No, I did not hear, I said.
Sir Phineas, as you and I have business to account for, shall we walk away from the ladies as to not ruffle their senses inappropriately?
Agreed, Sir Garfield. Let us make way.
After they left, I had words with Overy. My dear lady, I said, do you think that I am not aware of your doings? She replied,
I'm aware and I'm glad of it.
and with that, she brandished a weapon at me and threatened me with this.
Lady Fredonia, I believe that we can all come to an amicable agreement. You are barren. You cannot give Lord Budweiser an heir to his grand estate. My brother, Garfield, he adores you. Nay, he is passionately in love with you. And Lady Fredonia, he already has children. You will have no responsibility there. What do you say?
I responded, after being shocked at the way that she said the very word heir, as if it fluttered from a dark, deep place. I was afraid of her. Madame Overy, you scare me, and I wish you to be gone. And with that, I ran behind the calla lilies, around the perennials, and into the orange field, where I write this letter today, thinking thereof that particular odd day where my life was threatened, and I fear for the life of Sir Garfield. Sir Tenley, I ask you for your help if you still care for me at all in the slightest. Your once dearest love, Lady Fredonia.
Sir Tenley to Lord Budweiser. Good friend, I write to you from the warmest clime I could find to get heat into my body, for you know I do ail so dreadfully in the cold. But my own personal feelings and how I am that is not why I write to you. You know I have been your dear friend for many years, and you also know that many don't know of our secret friendship, that brotherly love that we share for each other. We have been through so much. That is why I come to you to tell you of what I have heard. Well, you see, I did receive a letter from Lady Fredonia telling me of the goings on way far across the sea where you are. I've heard many things. So I did but travel. And in order to get to the bottom of it, I stole away to the lodgings of Madame Overy. And there I crept below her window, and there she was in her window, and the Sir Garfield right there in her boudoir. They were having a heated conversation, and well, I did not hear the beginning of it, but what Sir Garfield spoke this.
And then I stabbed him. I'm sure I only pierced his thigh, and that the villain Phineas still lives.
And he had a smirk about his face, though I could not see it. I could almost hear it. And with that, Madame Overy said,
Garfield, you're becoming just like our father.
And so Garfield, taken aback by such an accusation, reeled physically and said,
"How dare you compare me to that man?"
He shouted, and she replied,
I don't recognize you right now, Garfield. I reached out to you as the endearing, lovable brother, and here you are, killing people.
And then they got to the meat of it regarding Sir Phineas, which I had no idea what was happening, but he said,
"Do you not understand? It is Lord Budweiser who engaged Phineas to slay me. That was the subject of our duel."
I was taken aback. Is this true? Is it possible? And she replied,
Oh no, my dear Bud went to such extremes to be rid of me.
We are such good friends, Lord Budweiser, that I scarcely was able to believe such a thing. I break out in a sweat just thinking of it. But Sir Garfield's retort sealed it for me, and he said,
"Listen to me, good sister. I love Fredonia, but she is married, and so I abstain my attempts towards her. You too must abstain this illicit love and break thee away from Budweiser."
At this point, I knew not what to do, for you are like a brother to me. But then I heard that you were actually trying to have a person killed, and now I was worried for your love. You see, then I heard a sound, and they looked out the window, so I ducked, and then they went in, and I ran, and I heard no more of the conversation. As you can see, Budweiser, I am confused, but thought you should know this information, for if you didn't, well, I knew not what would happen. Yours, very truly, Sir Tenley.
Lord Budweiser to Sir Phineas. Sir Phineas, I expect that you received this letter expecting your payment to be attached. However, since I have learned that you have failed to perform your duties with any measure worthy of you, there shall be no such payment. And I've sought to it that you shall be barred from assassinations throughout the land. I wish to regale you with what has now transpired because of your failures. You see, I met my love, dear Ovary, inside my living quarters. Rapturous as ever, the second love of my life, you know not how hard it is to love two women. She said this simple phrase to me.
Buddy, put your hand on my belly and feel your son kick.
I did so, and I could feel the toddler's appendage pulsing against my hand in a strange way. I took it from her belly, and I said this. Ovary, too much has transpired, and I have come to a decision between who I shall be with. She seemed flushed and responded.
I feel so much hope in this moment. Please out with it at once.
I felt so terrible to disappoint her, which is none other than your doing, Sir Phineas, but I had to tell her, so I said, I choose my wife. You are to leave at once. She cried to me.
This will be on your shoulders.
She cut herself. Why, immediately I called my servants to staunch her bleeding. What happens next? Well, I must leave it there, for too much is transpiring. No, this is all your fault. Lord Budweiser, out.
Sir Phineas to Sir Garfield. Sir Garfield, I write this letter to you with my own blood. As I take quill to paper, know, Sir Garfield, that yes, I had failed the first attempt at your life, but now I offer you another duel, Sir Garfield, and this time I promise you I will be the one to reign supreme and rebuild my good name as a killer. Prepare yourself, Sir Garfield, for I shall be with you momentarily. Sincerely, Sir Phineas.
Sir Garfield to Lady Fredonia. My dearest love. Yes, yes, I am bold enough to address you thusly, for like wild horses from a stable left wide open, my heart has burst from my chest and will not be contained a moment longer. I love you, Fredonia. I love you, and yet there are many, many obstacles that stand between us. For one, you are married. For two, your husband has impregnated my sister. And for three, I know not how you return, if at all you do, my feelings. And yet, so carried away by my love for you am I, that I have lost sight of the dire information that I write to impart upon you. For you see, it was just 3 weeks ago that I had word of a most atrocious incident affecting the life and health of my dear Ovary. She had attempted to take her own life, that vile sin against heaven, as a result of the unrequited love from Budweiser. As I heard the story relayed to me from the stagecoach driver that drove Sir Budweiser and Lady Ovary to the hospital, It was in his home when Lady Overy took a knife and slit her own wrist. Budweiser at once picked her up in his arms, ran with her outside to the stagecoach, and in the stagecoach, as he held her trembling, frail body close to his beating heart, he said to her,
"No, I have always loved you, Madame Overy."
She responded through her delirium,
I love you and gave up my life for you.
It was as beautiful as an Italian opera. Lord Budweiser responded,
But enough is enough. I leave you here. Go to the hospital and never return.
and with that, he unceremoniously dumped her withering frame from the stagecoach, where it was recouped by the fine men and women who work at the hospital, the essential workers, I care to call them. She is in the hospital now, clinging on to life, and it is that very fight against death itself that has made me realize, Fredonia, life is too short to hold our love within our chest. Fredonia, I love you. If you love me, write me to let me know, and all the world will be set aright. Yours, hopefully, Sir Garfield.
Lady Fredonia, to Sir Garfield. My darling, if I may call you that. I read your letter, and I know this letter comes to you rather late without a response, and I hope you have not suffered too much waiting for my response. For when I received your letter, I quickly made way to the hospital where Lady Overy lay. There she was in the bed, and from her wound, it was discovered that her labor was induced quickly. The child was born, and she offered it to me with these words.
Lady Fredonia, let this be my selfless act of love. Take this child. Raise it as your own, but make sure it knows of my name.
She could barely speak. She was weak. I took the child and could see in its eyes that it had the face of Bud. I knew it was his, and yet I could see your eyes as well, Garfield. Madame Overy, I said, I shall take this child and I shall care for it as if it were my own. And if you live past this event, I shall welcome you in my home to visit this child. And I shall let it know that it came from a lovely place, a lovely ovary. And with that, she fainted, and I left with the child, looking for a nursemaid quickly, for I needed somebody to nurse it. Garfield, I am here now in France at a small cottage, thatched cottage. I have left my husband with a note, not telling him where I went, for I fear that he will follow me and find us, you and I, and this lovely child. I wish only for the safety of this child and our love. My dear Garfield, I wait for you at the thatched cottage just beyond the river Le Deux. You know the place, and I wish to see you soon. Your love, Fredonia.
Sir Garfield to Phineas. My dear Sir Phineas, I doubt not that you expected not to hear from me in writing, and yet I address you thusly, and be forewarned, I had as little intention of speaking to you as you ever had of expecting to hear from me. And yet events have taken such a turn that I find myself with nowhere else to look, no matter how low I must stoop to see thee. You must know that upon hearing the sorry accident that befell my sister, Lady Overy, I at once went to visit her in the hospital. There she lay in her bed, clinging desperately to life. She told me how she gave the baby to my own love, and thinking that all might yet be well with me, my love, and my sister, she then said to me,
Garfield, I have had the most shocking visit from Sir Tenley. Yes, Garfield.
I responded, Sir Tenley, is he here across the water? She said,
Yes. It appears he is the angel to Budweiser's devil.
she recounted the tale in detail.
He came to visit me just yesterday, Sir Tenley. He took my hand and while stroking it, said this.
I came as soon as I heard of the events that had transpired, my dear.
And Madame Overy responded,
Tenley, you came to see into my health, and I am ever so grateful to you, Tenley. I wish to be yours.
Sir Tenley said,
Such a surprise. I had no idea that this could possibly happen. I came only to help, only to stand at your side, my dear. But to hear this, I know not what to say.
Listen,
said Madame Overy.
Tenley, in this hospital, I have gone through 8 nights of fever. And in that time, I broke that fever and realized that Lord Budweiser is the very devil himself. I want nothing to do with him.
She said, at that moment, Lord Budweiser himself barged into the hospital room, sword flailing, and as the devil himself, he proclaimed,
I am here for my vengeance.
At once, Sir Tenley drew his own dagger, and there it was, foil against dagger in a duel to the death. It was stunning in its scope.
You were once my friend.
Said Sir
I
Tenley.
counted you my brother.
He said again.
I counted you my brother.
At that point, Lord Budweiser's sword found its home.
Oh. 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 That hurt. Quite a bit.
Everything has been taken from me. My wife, my mistress, my child.
He pulled the sword out of its fleshy teeth. Sir Tenley, blood oozing from the wound in his hip, crawled out of the hospital room, and whether he lives or is dead at this moment, I know not. But Lord Budweiser's vengeance momentarily soothed said this to Madame Ovary.
Ovary, tell your brother when you next see him that his head shall find its place on my mantelpiece.
And he awayed. I think now, Sir Phineas, you know the intent of this letter. I have heaven waiting for me in Lady Fredonia, the baby, and yes, the Lord above us all. But so too do I have hell dragging me backwards. Sir Phineas, destroy Budweiser. For as much as I wish to rise above the petty hate that all human flesh is heir to, I cannot. Destroy Budweiser for me, and allow me to find my heavenly reward on earth. Until he is dead, I will know no happiness. Yours, Sir Garfield.
Sir Phineas, to Sir Garfield. Forgive me that this letter is again written in my blood, for I am so used to writing letters in my own blood that I forgot to buy ink. But it is of no matter, for with my last breath I shall regale to you what has occurred. I went and saw Budweiser at his estate. I charged him thusly, "Budweiser, where are you?" And there he was, standing at his desk with the mask on like the devil himself. I feared that you are correct, Sir Garfield. I said to him, "Budweiser, yes, I fail you, but now I see that my failure was actually my success, for you are the one who must die, you devil," to which he had responded,
Yes, perhaps the devil is what I truly am now.
and with those words, I lunged at him with my blade, but he ducked and parried. His skill was unmatched. He then drew his sword, and with quick swiftness, stabbed at gut.
Ovary, what are you doing here?
Madame Ovary barged in, and she stabbed him in his shoulder. Knowing that the wound that I had received was quite fatal, and seeing that Madame Ovary was there, I backed away, to which she then said to Lord Budweiser,
You took my heart. You took my innocence. You took my child. And now you will die for it.
and before those words were fully realized, Lord Budweiser leapt to his feet, opened the window, and flung himself out, almost like a creature in the night. I quickly scurried away to find my way back into my quarters, and before I pass out, I thought that I've yet again failed the task to which I had been. I'm not very good at this job anymore, and now I fear that by the time you read this letter, I might have been dead. Sincerely, Sir Phineas.
Sir Garfield to Lady Fredonia. My dearest love, it seems surprising that 4 months have passed since the atrocious events that embroiled our small community in such a net of horror and sin. And how unbelievable that you and I have somehow ended up happy and together in love. I see you now as you sit in the nursery of our large estate, holding the babe in your arms, smiling with a doting smile upon the bundle of love and giggles. I am here in a small hotel in France, where I conduct the business that drew me hither, and then soon depart again for home. Ah, I shall take some pleasure tonight in recounting the events that led up to this blissful state. I cast my memory back to that horrible day after Lady Overy, my sister, stabbed Budweiser, and he ran out from the house and fell down on the ground, on the soil in the small garden outside the estate. It was then that I pounced on him. Lord Budweiser, said I, your time draws near, he said, hissing like a demon.
No, I shall have my child.
No, said I, you shan't. And with my cold steel blade, I ran through his heart. I pulled out my blade and ran through his liver. I withdrew my blade and found a home for it in his spleen. I withdrew my blade and I watched him die. His dying words were,
All I wanted was their love.
he faded away as my dear sister, Madame Overy, stumbled out of the house. She looked down on his corpse and said,
I loved him.
but just at that point, Tenley arrived. Yes, Tenley had lived, and he said to Madame Overy,
Thank the Lord in heaven that his aim was so poor, my love.
Madame Overy, with the sight of Tenley's eyes shedding light upon her soul, regained her health as if by the grace of God, and said,
Tenley, as my brother, as my witness, I want to say this. I want my child back. Will you accept me with my bastard child?
I would accept you with 1,000 bastard children.
and all we can do is pray to God she has them. My sweet Fredonia, it was then that Sir Tenley and Madame Overy arrived at your door and made this plea for the safe return of their child.
Lady Fredonia, I know how much you want a child, and so I have found one in the shelter to give you so that you may have one of your own.
At which you responded,
I have cared for this child as if it were my own, and there is no reason that I cannot accept that child as my own as well and release this to its rightful ovary.
and so the swap was made.
Oh, what a lovely child.
Madame Overy and Sir Tenley smiled dotingly on their new family, and off they went, leaving you with the baby. And then, when I at last arrived at your home and said those words that I shall never forget, my lady, said I, upon my knee, said I, kneeling, will you marry me? And you said,
I will, my love.
it was shortly after our nuptials that I arranged for Sir Phineas to be arrested, where he was summarily executed in the town square. But let us not dwell on such grisly loose ends that needed to be tied. My dearest love, I shall end this letter, for I have babbled too long already. Kiss our dear child for me, and sleep well tonight, knowing that I shall be home before your heart can skip a second beat. Good night, my love. Yours, Sir Garfield. And thus comes to a close this episode of My Dearest Love, a series of dangerous letters. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us please bring our cast back out on stage, and let's, on the count of 3, take a great big bow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all so much for being here for our final performance of My Dearest Love. But Synergy Theater Online is not going anywhere. We are back next week, Thursday at 4:00 p.m. and Friday at 7:00 p.m. Next week, we bring back Grandma's Birthday, a Zoom family gathering. The whole family gets together to celebrate Grandma's birthday. What could possibly go wrong? Well, plenty. So tune in next week and find out. Go to synergytheater.com for all of the information. Ladies and gentlemen, if improvisation looks like fun, it is. And if you think you might like to try it, you can. Synergy Theater teaches online improv classes. All you have to do is go to synergytheater.com and click on our class schedule. Find out all about our classes. A brand new 6-week session is beginning the week of August 9th. Take an improv class. It's a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take one last opportunity to remind you tonight that Synergy Theater is a nonprofit charitable arts organization. We intend to be here for as long as we have to, bringing you free online improvised shows. But we need your help. If you are comfortable and of the means to make a small donation to Synergy Theater tonight, we would appreciate it very much. Anything at all will be very helpful. Just go to synergytheater.com, click on donate or support Synergy Theater. And as I say, any amount of money you can spare right now would go a long way in allowing us to continue our mission of building a better world through the art of improvisation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Stay safe and see us again soon. Synergy Theater loves you. Good night.